Can you believe that a guy spent almost 30 years in prison just to pull off the greatest escape of all time? Using nothing but a rock hammer, some dirt, and a dream? I mean, who even thinks of that? Like, if you asked me how I would escape prison, my first thought would be, don't go there in the first place. But not Andy Dufresne. No, he was like, I'll just use my 19-inch rock hammer and a little creativity. No big deal. Alright, so let's talk about the Shawshank Redemption. The film where you're basically rooting for a guy to escape from prison, not because you want him to escape, but because you're so inspired by how he does it. It's like watching someone who's been in a bad relationship for 27 years and finally says, you know what? It's time to break free. You respect it. It's raw. It's a bit scary, but damn, it's satisfying. The movie starts with Andy Dufresne, a banker who didn't kill his wife and her lover, by the way, getting sent to Shawshank prison for a double murder he didn't commit. The guy's got one thing on his mind: clearing his name and getting out of this hellhole. And of course, the first question everyone asks is, why would a banker even want to go to jail? This guy could have been making money on Wall Street or fixing the economy, but nope, he's stuck in this nightmare. And all he has is his dignity and his rock hammer. But what Andy does next is just legendary. He starts a little project in Shawshank, fixing the place up one day at a time. I mean, the guy literally turns a hellhole into a respectable institution. No one was asking for that. No one was like, hey Andy, could you make this place a little more homey? But Andy's like, nah, I've got nothing but time and an unstoppable need to make this place look like it's got some potential. Then there's Red, played by Morgan Freeman, the guy who's been in Shawshank for decades and is basically the person you go to when you need something smuggled in. And if anyone's living the life of, if I can make it through prison, I can make it through anything, it's Red. Red's the dude who, when the rest of the world gets all crazy, just takes it slow, makes a few bets and observes. He's got this aura of I've seen it all, and his friendship with Andy, that's what keeps this movie from being just another prison flick. It's the kind of friendship that makes you think, man, if only we could all find someone to pass the time with in a murderous prison. But let's get to the meat of this thing, the escape. Can you believe Andy actually made a hole in the wall with a rock hammer, and no one noticed for 19 years? 19 years. This guy's so dedicated to escaping. He's not only using the hammer to chip away at his wall, but he's also spending years of his life slowly gathering the patience and resolve to crawl through 500 yards of sewage just to get out. You think you're suffering because you didn't get your coffee this morning? Andy just spent almost 3 decades living under the constant threat of death, with nothing but hope and a little bit of elbow grease. We should all be ashamed of ourselves. And let's not forget the real plot twist. Andy doesn't just escape, he also gets back at everyone who wronged him. Do you remember the scene where he's in the warden's office, and he's playing Mozart through the speakers while the whole prison is in chaos? That was the moment when Andy wasn't just escaping the prison walls. He was escaping the idea that Shawshank had won. He was the real mastermind, pulling the strings from day one, and no one had a clue. And speaking of that warden, can you believe he never figured out what was going on? Dude had the most obvious tell in the world. Oh, I'm the almighty warden. I'm untouchable. Yeah, sure, buddy. Keep telling yourself that while the guy you're trying to ruin is slowly building a network of people who respect him, using your own corrupted system to get what he wants. You didn't see it coming. Classic. It's like the guy from Breaking Bad thinking he could outsmart Walter White. Spoiler alert, you can't. But here's the kicker. In the end, Andy didn't just escape Shawshank. He changed everything. He didn't need money, fame, or even a fancy lawyer. He just needed patience, a plan, and a rock hammer. So, when he finally walks out of Shawshank into the sunlight, after crawling through 500 yards of raw sewage, it's not just an escape, it's redemption. It's proof that no matter how dark the situation is, no matter how many years you've been wronged, there's always a way out. And that's something we can all take home with us. But here's the million-dollar question. Why is it that, after all Andy went through, Red's the one who gets out on parole? I mean, Andy should have been the first one out of that place. He's been the one doing all the work. He's been the one actually making Shawshank better. Yet Red gets the freedom, and Andy's the one to pave the way for it. It's one of those questions that'll keep you awake at night. Was Red really the one who deserved freedom? Or was it Andy's influence that finally set him free? And what about the final scene? When Red finds Andy on that beach in Mexico, after promising to meet him there. The entire movie is about hope, redemption, and the fact that, even in the darkest moments, you can find peace and solace if you hold on to what's important. But the real message is this: Andy's redemption wasn't just about escaping Shawshank. It was about restoring something that was lost: hope. So, in conclusion, The Shawshank Redemption isn't just a movie. It's a lesson in persistence, friendship, and the idea that no matter what life throws at you, as long as you've got the right attitude and a little bit of patience, you can break free just like Andy did. And let's be real, can anyone even imagine having the patience Andy had? I mean, if I had to wait 19 years for something, I'd probably just give up and go to the gym for some therapy. But Andy? Nah, he just kept chiseling away. That's real dedication right there.